life. He's my big brother, one of my big brothers, and I just wrote down a few things as I was eating breakfast this morning. He taught me some very important things in my life, such as when you're faking sleep to convince your parents that you've been sleeping for a long time, you don't do this. Because they can tell right away. Another thing is, can't read it. You convinced me once that you could see through the wall of the bathroom into my bedroom. And I was looking all over the closet to see where the secret hole was in the wall in the bathroom. When Sarah was 10 months old, you babysat for her for a night. And I left this first child, I left this very detailed list of everything you're supposed to do, not supposed to do, supposed to give her, not supposed to give her. She was 9 months old. I gave her a bowl of Cheerios. So he gave her a bowl of Cheerios and brought her to the airport in her overalls backwards. She's still alive to tell the tale. So. Let's see. When he used to let me play with his friends, reluctantly let me play with his friends, and I was the fetch-it. When he played baseball, I used to run after the ball to get them, because that's the only job they let me do. Let's see. One time, he and his friend, was it Bob Inskeep with the water? He and Bob Inskeep were playing with the water spritzer in the kitchen, and I was the lookout in the driveway. So I announced that my parents were home. The two of them went in paper towels and bath towels, wiped everything up, and they thought that he'd cleaned the kitchen. Remember that they thought you cleaned the kitchen? Another thing I remember is
mischief in him.
I was riding in your Volkswagen, and he said, "Flip the handle, flip the handle." So I flipped the handle. He says, "Okay, now we have enough gas to get to the gas station," because he had a car without a gas gauge. Let's see. We unpacked Mildred's apartment when she moved into Manhattan. And I was in charge of Fancyland, which was putting away all the crystal and the china.
Fancyland?
Fancyland. And John was in charge of big, something with an F in Bookland, because he had all of these books to put away. There was also, in the back seat of the car, there was an imaginary line down the middle. And he would take his pinky and cross that imaginary line. And say, I'm not doing anything, whatever. Then, I can't read anymore. Well, the last thing I'll say is when we were driving Mildred to Sarah's, our oldest daughter's wedding, she forgot her, what? Mildred is my mother. Yes, she forgot that same F thing with the ing at the end, green bag, so it became the FGB.
I think we have it with us.
So anyway, well, I just wanted to say happy birthday, and
I'd like to add something. One of the funniest things that anyone has ever said to me was a few months ago when we came to visit. We were leaving, and John gives Amy an embrace, and I go to say goodbye, and he gives me a hug, and he says to me in a very low voice, "I never liked you."
I have a story too, because I've known John just about 2 years less than Amy's known John. Because, 2 years less. So I've known John for a very long time. I don't remember all the stories about John because I was paying attention to his big sister. But I remember John telling me very clearly at one point, a la Glenn, said, "Mike, I've always thought of you as a brother." That's why I never liked it.
Yeah, I never heard that one. John, I never liked you either, so what are you gonna do?
All right, I'll say a few things. I remember that. I was 8 years old when we were born. So that was like my first baby. And I was just, I played with dolls, just new life dolls. This was great, really. And I really enjoyed it. Six amazing. You were adorable, and not just a baby.
Yeah, so what changed?
When you got
Everything.
5 years old, even 6, 7. Very cute kid.
Green
I
tea?
remember that. But then you got a little bit older, maybe a young teen. And I do remember mother telling Colleen the next door neighbor, her kids,
Oh, I remember this.
John's window faced the window of the next door girl who was also about the same age. Mary, I don't know, maybe she's around here. Mary Lynn Gibb is the name I remember. And she would undress at night, with the lights on and the shades off. And John asked, Dougie, we're watching. But mother discreetly called the mother of this girl and said, make sure she has her shades closed at night.
Do you remember the second part of the story? She said, and Mary, she told Mary Lynn to close your shades. She says, no, I like to watch John.
And so,